Hello, this is a tutorial for the stem stitch sewn bind off, which I use in my portcullis cowl pattern, which I'm finishing off as we speak. The stem stitch bind off is quite a useful one because if not structurally, at least cosmetically, it's quite a good match for the two colour long tail bind off. I guess if you were to do it in one colour, then you could do one colour in the bind off as well. This is a two colour project, so I did the cast on, which is here. This is the long tail cast on, and if I look on the other side of this piece, which is the side I've already done, you can see with a little bit of gapping because my tension is not perfect, it's a pretty good match. So how's it done? Well, the first thing to do is to thread the end of the yarn you want to use onto a tapestry needle. I'm using the blue to knit into the grey stitches here, which was the last round that I worked. It's important to leave enough yarn as a tail, so what I do is I make sure I've got 4 times the width of my bind off, the length of my bind off. So this is a circular cowl, so I'm going round the cowl 4 times, and then I break the yarn and thread it on a tapestry needle. So how's it done? The first thing to do is to go into the second stitch on the needle, not this one, the first stitch, but the second stitch on the needle, as if to knit. And you're going to take that tapestry needle through the stitch and out the other side. So it's going to come out between the first and second stitches on the needle. Up against my finger there, you can see it more easily. So it's going through that stitch as if to knit, but it's the second one. Then you can pull through. You can either pull the entire length of the yarn through, or you can do a little time-saving step that I do and just pull it through a little bit. Then you come into that first stitch on the needle as if to purl. And what you do then, once you've got the needle in it, you can just slip that one off the left needle, and that's the point where you can, watch this tangle up, that's the point where you can pull that bind off nice and snug all the way through. That's essentially it. So I'm going to show you that again. You go in through the second, what is now the second stitch on the needle, as if to knit, coming through between those two. Pull the needle through just a little way, enough to turn round and come through that first stitch as if to purl. Ooh, slip that one off the needle and pull through. And what it does is it's giving this kind of wrapped sense to the stitches. It's just going round and round and round, but because you're always coming through on top, it's giving this nice little slope to the stitches as they get created. One more time then, through as if to knit into the second stitch, pull it through a little way, come back through that first stitch as if to purl, slip it off the needle and pull. That's getting a little bit tangled up here. It is possible to do this so that your slanty stitches actually slope the other way. And I can demonstrate that just once. I don't want to do it masses of times because I then only have to end up undoing it all. But you can go through exactly the same way. Second stitch as if to knit, pull through, and then coming through this purl stitch, if I wanted to make the slant go the other way, I'd go underneath that yarn. I'm not worrying about that. I'm just going to come straight through, slip it off, and pull the yarn through. It's important to keep an eye on tension here. You don't want it to get too tight, you don't want it to get too loose and floppy. You want it to match the cast on as much as possible. It's not the end of the world if it doesn't. I tend to pull the working yarn until it's kind of, there's a bit of resistance there. It's not too tight, but I'm not leaving it loose either, and that seems to even up quite nicely. And that's all there is to it. This is the stem stitch sewn bind off, and there it is coming along quite nicely. Happy knitting.